Congresswoman, thank you so much for being here tonight. What amazes me about this story, and I'm glad Hillary laid it out the way she did, is these tax credits are supposed to push the EV industry in this country, not in China, where all of the components come from. So in one breath, Biden's putting the tax credit out there to encourage people to use EVs, but the components all come from China. In the same breath, he's imposing tariffs on Chinese-made EVs that aren't even being completely imported here yet to say, no, no, see, I'm taking a tough stance on China. He thinks people are stupid.
Well, he does think people are stupid. We had Administrator Regan, who is the administrator of the EPA, in testimony yesterday, and I asked him the same question I asked him last year, and that is, how many vehicles in the U.S. on the road today? And he didn't know the answer to that. It's approximately 278 million. And how much energy does it take to get a single 100-mile charge in an EV? He doesn't know the answer to that. He didn't know it last year, and it's 30 kilowatt hours. So two rules that the EPA has. One is mandating that approximately 66% of vehicles on the road will be EVs in 8 years, and shutting down coal and natural gas fired power plants. So if you multiply 278 million by 30 kilowatt hours, it's about 9 trillion. So we don't have the electricity, we don't have the energy, and they're not allowing permitting so that we can get the component metals such as cobalt, lithium. We can get those metals in order to build EV cars here in the U.S. So on one hand, he disadvantages U.S. companies by not allowing the mining and processing we need to do here to onshore that. And on the other hand, the Chinese Communist Party is going to be eligible for these tax credits, which are meant for American businesses. Right. So he's speaking out of both sides of his mouth. And, you know, it's our job to have oversight on this and push this envelope. And I do think it'll pass through Congress and the Senate.
Congresswoman, don't you think to a certain degree what we see in the stock market with respect to this basket of stocks is telling a little bit of a story, which is that the EV push here in the United States, even despite all of these issues, it hasn't really fully worked for the American consumer. The cars are still expensive. The charging is unreliable because the stations aren't necessarily, the infrastructure isn't there. Battery power concerns some if they're taking a really long trip. And ultimately, consumers are pulling back from that. They want gas-powered vehicles, or they want hybrids, which have been very popular as of late. Wouldn't it be better for the president to issue sort of a mea culpa and say, maybe we pushed on this a little bit too soon. We're going to take it a little bit slower and see how it goes. Let the industry evolve. Let free market capitalism dictate what happens here. And ultimately, when the product is ready to come to market and consumers will buy it, that will be the time that we make a switch.
Exactly. And Jackie, all of us want a cleaner, healthier planet for our children, our grandchildren. But we also know that the U.S. is a place where innovation occurs. We develop, we improvise. And so let the market take care of this and do this. People want choice in vehicles. That's why we passed the CARS Act, which is choice in vehicles. Electric vehicles work well in some places where there's stop and go traffic in urban areas, but they don't work well here in Iowa. They don't work well in the north where it gets cold. The batteries lose their charge, the charging stations. And there's a big blow to the Biden administration when Elon Musk and Tesla said they're not going to build the number of supercharging stations that they had planned to do. So it's an ill thought out policy. It's not ready for prime time. And yes, other presidents have, you know, they've stopped, they've issued mea culpas, or they have gone to the center, but the Biden administration does not seem to be doing that at all. They're just capitulating to their far left-wing extreme base.
Congresswoman, great to see you tonight. Thank you so much for your insight.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you.
You too.